Hi and welcome to turn 10 of GMT's Holland 44 Operation Market Garden playthrough, short game playthrough. Turn 10 of 11, so only 2 turns to go. The victory conditions are for allied non-airborne units to be north of the Weil River. As you can see, the Allies aren't really even in Veghel, so they've still got a canal to cross, and this long road through Grave, which is currently threatened, and that's the Waal there, over here. So 2 turns to do that, 1 daylight turn, 1 night turn, and it takes 2 turns to rebuild a bridge, so they're not going to do it. Still, let's play through anyway, and see how far they get. See if we can get something substantial across the Zoet-Williams Canal, which is where Veghel is. This canal here. Anyway, I've actually got some feedback from a friend of mine on the replay, which I was actually doing the weather rolls wrong. I was rolling 1 dice and then checking on the column what the AM and the PM turn results are. It's actually you roll a dice for each in the AM turn, but you kind of know what the PM is, and it could be something different from the roll in the AM. But never mind. I think it's been reasonably variable anyway now. So just carrying on with the weather as is. I think that's reasonable. It's now a cloudy turn. Artillery resupply phase allows 1 airborne artillery to resupply, and this actually be first airbornes. Quite amazingly. That's the only airborne unit still on the board. The 101st Artillery disintegrated on landing, and the 82nd hasn't even been landed yet. We also have 4 air landing points, so 4 units can be airdropped. We cannot drop the Polish Brigade. They require a clear turn to be able to be dropped. Something to do with their airfield being fog bound through a lot of the operation, delaying them, and cloudy's not good enough. But we can drop the 82nd glider regiments, and also there is a bit of the 101st. I think we'll probably concentrate on the 82nd, I think, for this last turn of airdrops. So we'll on the artillery supply, we're looking at which artillery units to actually flip over. So we have the 11th Armoured over here, and we also have the Corps Artillery of 30 Corps and the Guards Armoured Division, which is probably the 2, I think, which should be flipped over. It can only be 2 units, so I think it will be those, and the 11th Armoured will just have to wait till next turn, if at all. So flip those over. And here as well. Oh, not there, sorry. Here. So that takes us through the artillery resupply phase. On the bridge phase, I think we've completed this one. I don't think we can rebuild any. There's this one to be done, and that's about it. We could look at rebuilding these, but the Germans are on the other end of the bridge still, and likewise over here, not available. So bridge phase is effectively skipped. the air landing phase. So yeah, I think that will be the 82nd. Just move the unit, unknown unit. So on the 82nd, we've lost the landing grounds here, down here. So the only ones we preserved are up here, or possibly that one there, though it is contested. I think these are the safest ones to use. We have the glider troops, if you like, the half battalions, if you like. We could drop the artillery as well. But yeah, I think we'll probably do that. So we'll drop one half battalion here, and sorry, one battalion there, two half battalions, then one half battalion and the artillery here. We need to roll for those units, and there's no modifiers for those. It's in the open, and the Germans aren't anywhere near, so it's just a straight roll. So for this top unit here, 5 is a scattered. And for the unit underneath, it's a 1, it's fine. Then the artillery unit, 5, that's scattered. And the unit underneath, it's a 1, and that's fine. And that's the air landing phase. We're on to the movement phase, so as usual I'll go along and see how we can move on the Allied side to improve the situation, if it can be possible, and then I'll review them with you. Right, so we've done our movement. In Arnhem, we've just reorganised here the artillery and the supply counter up against the river, and there's more strength up here in Easterbake. That's all really. In 82nd, we have consolidated the line here. We've pulled out of this part of the city, so we have a ZOC bond, so it should be fine, and use the extra unit to block this infiltration down the river line. We've brought one of the glider units down here on extended movement, the artillery and the one other glider unit to here with tactical movement, and then try to shore up what's going on in Grave here with bringing a glider unit in and then extending the breakdown unit over to a second town. So hopefully we should be able to hold on there. Lots of work happening over in the 101st segment. Now they've got supply, all except for the one unit over the canal. So we're looking at bullying the 107 Pound Brigade here with some help from Guards Armoured Division, and also attack here to get onto the canal. In the north, again, 101st and 50th Division is looking to push back in the north as well. And finally, we are we got an interesting occurrence here that we leapt over the canal, dismounted for these two infantry units of 11th Armoured, and this bridge was intact. So we're going to be doing a combat here. Hopefully, if there's any advance at all, we can get at least one unit across the canal there. And yeah, there's only if I pull back a bit, all you can see is anything holding on there is actually the artillery unit, which of course will defend in the possibly in a determined defence or something like that. But other than that is it for that sector. So quite an interesting occurrence there, and we'll see how that goes. Elsewhere, 43rd Division is coming up the road, and also 3rd Division on the flank here is just spread out along the canal line to keep it guarded, and that's about it. So we've got these combats which we can do, and I think the interesting one will be this one here. So let's see how we're trying to do that. We have 10 in defence. We have vehicle units here which attacking Polder. They will be halved. So that's only a 2. These units are full strength, so that's an 11. 11 and 13, and these are halved across the canal anyway. 13 and 7, so that's 20, and a 6.5, 26.5. Actually, I think it's 27 total. There was a half here as well. 27 is 2 to 1. We don't have a tank shift because the tanks can't actually get across the canal, but we don't have an artillery, so it is just a 2 to 1 there. Yeah, 27 to 10. So let's see what the result is there. That's a 6. So just that's a D1. So we need to take a loss. We can take it on the lesser unit. But there is a retreat to be dealt with, and I think determined defence is very much in order. There is a retreat route over to here and overstacked. That'll be the way to go. But I think we'd rather sit there and just make sure there's no advance. So the roll is Polder. It's the weakest table, and there's no. There is the artillery, which will add a +1 to the dice. That's a 5. It's a good roll, going up to a 6. So there is no advance. There's a loss on each side though, and I think we'll take that possibly off the Cromwell unit. An extra loss here, and there is no advance, so the bridge is not crossed this turn. So it's a relief for the Germans. They may be able to get someone decent on the other side of that bridge, possibly these units on tactical movement next turn, which shores things up. But that was a close run thing. There was 50-50 chance of the retreat being mandatory from that determined defence. Okay, so over here we have what is a very straightforward 8 to 1 here. So it's a maximum odds attack on that little motorised unit. There is a tank shift, but it doesn't really matter. It's all at the top of the table. 7 to 1, so we'll roll that one first. That's at 1, so well, there you go, an A1 D1. So yeah, we will need to remnantise something, so possibly the tank unit, I think. So the Welsh Guards. Have to be replaced by a remnant. And this is eliminated. So an A1D1 does mean that there is, there is an advance possible there, and I think we may just move to there, I think, on a normal advance, just to put the Panzer Brigade in trouble. We'll do the Panzer Brigade roll now. In fact, actually, I think we'll do this one first. I think that's 5 in defence, and we have here of 11 and 14. Yep, so there's 25 to 5. There's a 5 to 1. We can get an artillery in there to make it 6 to 1. We roll that. This is a 1 this time, 6 to 1. It's a DR exchange. So I think an exchange involves, I think the big tank unit, I think, will be the one to lose. Actually no, possibly the mech infantry. I think that's the biggest loss of attack factor. And there's a DR as well as part of it, and there needs to be a retreat. So shall we? Can't retreat over the canal, so we'd have to go around up the forest here. I think it's probably worth preserving, to be honest. That means there is some movement, some advance, certainly. We could move to there, I think, and move to there. That kind of seals off the bridge area. And finally we got the for this area we've got the attack on the Panzer Brigade, so that's a 9 versus 4, we won't use the engineer, 4, 10, that's the attached unit, 10, 17, 24 to 9 is a 3 to 1. There is no tank shift because this has a greater tank value than the Sherman there, but it doesn't get a tank shift itself. It's only if there is no attackers, and there's an elite, with the lead formation being the 101st. So that's 3 to 1 going up to 4 to 1. That's a 1 again. 4 to 1 is an exchange. Now again, the choice is the opponent, so certainly I think the Panther unit will be reduced. Interesting. I suppose the tank unit would be the one to do. So that's a second remnant here. I think there's only 5 available for the British tank formation, so yeah, and there's no movement, so there's no retreat needed, so not a great attack there. Up the top here we have a pure 101st attack here, which is 4, 8, 11 to 5 is 2 to 1, up one for elite attackers. It's 3-to-1. Yep, 3-to-1 roll. A 4 and 3-to-1 is a DR. See no real reason for wanting to keep that hex particularly, so we will retreat. And there is a normal advance, which we'll probably place these 2 units in the hex, and we will, I think, put these 2 behind to. Now we should have a Zoc bond. Actually, what we might do, I think, is do that. I think so. If this attack goes well and this unit has to move, then there's still some protection and Zoc bond, etc. Finally, this really rather tough attack up here at best. So this is 10 double to 20, and here we have 5, 10, 15, and yeah, it's 23. It's going to add this unit in, but it's not going to mean anything to the odds table. So it's a 1-to-1, but there's 2-to-1 with the tank unit there, and we can add the artillery to make it 3-to-1. So 3-to-1 there. That's a 6. Good roll with a D1. So there was a loss. Take it on that unit, I think, and we'll attempt a defence there. So on the other chart, we can use this artillery up here to help out the defence. So we'll get a +1. Roll a 2, comes a 3. A 3 in other terrain is actually still a retreat. No effect, so there needs to be a retreat happen there, and a normal advance. So certainly we'll put the I think the infantry can, yes, across the bridge, yeah, certainly. Where should we go here? I think the tank unit can probably withdraw. I think that'll do fine. So finally a decisive round being gained up in the north there. Yeah. Okay, so that's the combat phase. And in the cavalry phase, we have an engaged marker here to be removed. We have no disrupted markers to remove here. Nothing particularly here or in Arnhem. Units kind of died rather than retreated in these areas. So yeah, that's recovery phase. Supply phase, we actually have supply all the way to the other side of this canal, so this unit is now in supply, and all the other allies are as they were, really. So that takes us on to the German turn. Right, so on the German turn, we have our usual resupply of 2 units. I think certainly we should put one of the units in Arnhem back in operation. We have the SS unit here and the Arco unit there for the 191 Arco. And I think that's probably the most flexible one to use, so we'll turn him over. I think the other one, even though we have a decent attack here possible, I think whether we should turn over our artillery unit here in the problem area to at least provide, I don't quite know what. Yeah, I think, well, no, maybe not. I think we can cover this hex with some movement here, tactical movement. So yeah, let's flip back the 406 artillery. In the bridge phase, nothing much changes, I think. No, there is this bridge here. However, there's no unit, German unit, near it, so we can't blow that in the bridge phase. We'd have to wait for an Allied unit to move next to it. And yeah, that's the lot, I think, for bridge phase. So we're down to movement phase, and we'll get some movement done and review and do any combats that result. So the movement in the Arnhem sector was just bring some reinforcements in. We've now got a completely stacked Arnhem area there around the city. We're only going to do an attack here, of course. We'd like to get that hex to then start working on the bridge hex there. Over up here, we brought on in reinforcement that's only really got as far as here. We haven't really got the oomph to attack that space yet. If we wait for this unit to come up next turn, we can have a go at that. Freeze up the ferry. Then now down in Nijmegen, we've got an extra Fallschirmjäger unit came in, and together it's going to attack into here. We've also, more threatening happening here, the other side of the lake there. See what's what. Over this side, it looks fairly well blocked. This unit I've brought up this road to sit into this hex. So on the turn that 30 Corps would actually get across the canal, they'd have a block there anyway. Withdraw the 107 Panzer Brigade units here back to cover this bridge. I think it's worth just covering the bridges for the moment, and we managed to scrape together a couple of units to get on this side of the bridge, so that that blocks that, plugs that gap. Other than that, in the north, gone into defensive mode here really. Just got as much tougher hexes as possible, and just see what happens. I think there isn't really the strength up there to do anything with a fully supplied 101st and the 50th Division as well. So yeah, there's only so much those units can do, and they have taken quite a few losses, but they've done their job. They've slowed down the Allied advance, as they should do. So they're taking a defensive rest, if you like. So we really only have two combats here to deal with. So we've got the Nijmegen combat here with the paratroop units. So we have a hex of 12 and 8, so that's 20 versus 6, so that's a 3-1, and no tank shift because it's woods, but there is artillery just off the board here, which we'll use. So that becomes 3-1, comes 4-1, so we'll roll that. And we roll a 3 or 4-1, which is a DR. Yeah, we can retreat 3-1 Zoc. Should we try and keep these units away from the city? It's getting rather thin, this line here. So I think we'll try and hang on here and roll for determined defence +1 for the elite status. and we roll a 6, it goes to a 7. So it's on the other table. 7 is, well, that's a very good roll. So that's no retreat, and it causes a loss to the attackers. Yeah, and the defender gets to pick, so we will actually lose the Stug unit. So that was a really bad attack there. Very good defence by the 82nd there, and loss of a tank unit. We were really using it to get the extra points in the hex, but yeah, that's actually now gone. Very good defence. Back in Arnhem, let's see what happens in if something happens in the same vein here. So we have 10 again. Hang on, we are in a city hex, so the tank units are actually halved. So we do that. That's a 9 and an 8, so 17 and 17 and 7, 24. So in defence here we have 7 double to 14. So there's a 1-to-1. Oops. That was a good flip there. That is a 1-to-1. And we will add in the artillery for a 2-to-1. Well, they're really not falling for me this time. So that's a 2-to-1 attack in there. That's a 3 on 2-to-1, which is an exchange, about what you'd expect. Again, though, there is a choice, and I think the defender would choose that unit, and or possibly, let's say yeah, we're losing 2 strength points, and that's probably the max we would. So yeah, we'll lose that tank unit. And here we will flip probably, yeah, probably the big unit. So one of those, yeah, it's going to be a grind to get that hex done. It's going to take a long time, but there's a chip just happened. A chip on the British has happened there, but it's cost quite a bit. So that's the combat phase. Recovery phase. By the way, there was an engaged marker on this from the last turn, which I took off in the recovery phase. Well, I forgot to, and I took it on just after I recorded the Allied turn. Recovery phase, we're looking to over here with some disruptions. So these units will come back available. I think the Fallschirmjäger unit under here will have to roll, and a 5 is good enough, so that disruption comes back, comes off. I suspect that's the lot. Yes, so that's that turn. Supply phase, yeah, no problems for the Germans, with the exception here of these units. These guys are out of supply now, and we say that about the 107th unit up there. They look like they're out of supply indeed. Right, and we're back to traffic marker phase. So we have 2 to put on, and where can we station them? I think best is probably leading up to the bridge, and in the town. It's probably the best places. That's actually adjacent, so that's possible. So we put it there, and maybe we'll put it on the bridge approach there, and then we roll for those traffic markers. We've got a 2 and a 1. 1 is there, and that's been a very useful one. That's caused a lot of delays. And number 2 Number 2 is one we just placed, which is there, so unfortunate. Okay, well that will therefore be the turn. As I say, we've got one turn left, and it's night. I just realised I didn't actually use the air unit available this turn, but never mind. That was an oversight. We've got one turn left, which is night. I will do a video to finish off the short game scenario, but it's going to consist of a half-built bridge at Veghel, and that's as far as 30 Corps will get, is that hex there. Not particularly impressive. Okay, so yeah, well, thanks for watching again, and here's to the last turn in the next video. And yeah, again, thanks very much for lasting through this series of videos. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.